This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. Very good evening to all of you. And welcome to the second day of the Time CAT Conclave. Mission MBA is what the theme is for this year. And today I will be interacting with you to discuss details on what is CAT, what are the other management entrance exams, and what are the tricks and techniques to ace these entrance exams. Right? So it's 7 p.m. already. It's almost 7:01 now. So without further ado, and respecting the fact that so many students have really joined in before time, let's begin. Okay. So as you all know, we have all met here today to discuss more in detail, the technical details of what CAT as an exam is. Okay. So if I talk about CAT as an entrance exam, we need to understand one thing, and that is it is considered to be one of the most important management entrance exam. Okay, now before I get into details, I just want a quick heads up and some movement in the chat box. Are you all able to hear me clearly? Just a little bit of movement in the chat box. I am expecting a couple of replies. Yes, are you all able to hear me clearly? Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, the responses are pouring in. I expect the same kind of enthusiasm in the entire session. A couple of things that I would like to say to you guys before we start the discussion. The first thing is, if you have any questions, I request you to please put it in the chats. I will make sure that after a couple of slides, I will visit the chat box. We'll discuss your questions and then we'll move further. Okay, so thank you, Siddhi. So what we'll do is we'll discuss your questions as well as we move on, so that it will be more interactive. Do not hesitate to ask me anything that you need to ask me related to any of the management level entrance exams. I'll be happy to clear your doubts. Okay, let's begin. Are we all ready? Yes. I'll really appreciate if you could keep a notebook and a pen handy, because you might want to note down a couple of things. And if you're watching the session on your mobile or your laptop, please feel free to take a screenshot or something of the important slides, so that you have all the information with you. Okay, right. So let's begin. How to ace CAT. Okay, so basically when I talk about an entrance exam like CAT, the first thing that comes to our mind is, okay, ki CAT kya hai? What is CAT exactly, and what is the syllabus? Okay, so CAT, that is Common Admission Test, is the entrance exam which is conducted by the IIMs, okay, in India, which is the Indian Institute of Management. Okay, you have already got to know a lot of things in yesterday's session, so I will not get into too many details of the myths related to CAT as an exam. We will be talking more about what the exam is all about. Now, although CAT is an exam which is conducted by the IIMs, okay, but the scores of CAT are accepted in a lot of colleges other than the IIMs as well. Okay, so we will be seeing that in detail as well today, कि ये colleges क्या होते हैं, कैसे होते हैं, and what is the syllabus that you need to prepare for. Okay, now who are eligible to appear for this entrance exam? If you want to do MBA after your graduation, if MBA is something that you are looking for, that is your Masters in Business Administration, this is one of the most important exams, entrance exam, that you need to give. Okay, from point of view of syllabus, the syllabus is pretty general, because as you all know, MBA एक ऐसी डिग्री है जो आप किसी भी ग्रेजुएशन के बाद कर सकते हो. You can do MBA after engineering, you can do MBA after a BSc, a BBA, a BCom, a BA. You can even do MBA after finishing your medical school. You can do MBA after working for a couple of years. So basically कोई eligibility criteria from point of view of graduation studies नहीं होता है. You need to be a graduate. You need to have more than 50% marks in your graduation. Okay, and you need to have given entrance exams whichever are required in for your target colleges. Okay, so CAT अगर मैं बोलूँ is considered to be the mother of all management level entrance exams. Okay, because from point of view of benchmarking अगर मैं बोलूँ तो CAT sets a benchmark. बाकी सारे entrance exams जो है उसी के इर्द गिर्द होते हैं. So what I mean by saying this is you'll have a better understanding when you see the paper pattern of CAT, or rather the syllabus of CAT. Okay, तो ये जो एंट्रेंस एग्जाम होता है गाइज, इसमें देयर आर बेसिकली 3 सेक्शंस. Now, in general, if I talk about any management level entrance exams, these three sections are definitely going to be there. Okay, what are these sections? Let us visit them one by one. The first section that you can see is verbal ability and reading comprehension. Okay, the name itself is self-explanatory. Verbal ability क्या होता है? तो verbal ability is nothing but your your comfort with English language in general. Okay, तो ये जो particular section है verbal ability and reading comprehension is further subdivided into 3 subsections. We'll speak a little bit more in detail about it in the slides to come. ठीक है? Second section जो होता है is a combination of 3 different parts. Logical reasoning, data interpretation, and there's a very tiny little section called data sufficiency also. ठीक है? तो LRDIDS ये 3 sections एक साथ मिला के हमारा logical reasoning and data interpretation का section बनता है. And the third section that you have is quantitative aptitude. That is nothing but maths. In general terms, it's nothing but mathematics. Okay? ठीक है, अब अगर मैं कैट के पेपर की बात करूं तो एक जनरल पैटर्न जो होता है कैट के पेपर का comprises of 100 questions. Okay, it has 100 questions in all, जिसमें 34 questions are based on verbal ability and reading comprehension, 32 on LR and DI, and 34 again on quantitative aptitude. But there was a difference which was seen in the CAT pattern in the previous year. CAT 2020 का जो पेपर था उसमें 100 क्वेश्चंस के बजाय 76 क्वेश्चंस पूछे गए थे. Obviously, CAT 2020 came in right in the middle of the pandemic, so कुछ changes किए गए थे, keeping in mind the comfort of the students as well. Okay, so that's the only difference. But otherwise, we can expect, you can have a 100 marks paper this year. You can also have a 76 marks paper. Sorry, 100 questions paper or 76 questions paper. It depends on what the situation of the pandemic is, but this is a general pattern. ठीक है? As far as the marking scheme is concerned, देखिए, now every question in CAT is for 3 marks. ठीक है? Every question in CAT is for 3 marks. ठीक है? So if you have 34 questions, it goes without saying, it is going to have 102 marks. Okay? And I would just request all of you to please mute yourselves so that we do not get disturbed. Thank you so much. Yes. Sorry for the interruption. So every question has a weightage of 3 marks. Okay, but CAT is a paper कि जिसमें negative marking भी होता है. Now, what do I mean by this? I want you to pay very close attention to what I'm going to tell you now. ठीक है? Now, when I talk about the kind of question which is asked in CAT, one is an MCQ form, the other is a non-MCQ format. MCQs, as you all are aware, is multiple choice questions. ठीक है, तो question होगा, you will have option A, B, C, D as options and you have to mark the correct answer. Every question would have only one correct answer. Okay, right. अगर MCQ kind of question है, so you would have 3 marks for every correct answer and -1 for every wrong answer. तो यहाँ पे negative marking होने वाली है. But there is another kind of question which is a non-MCQ format, also called as TETA question. Type in the answer. Okay, it's called as a TETA question. Type in the answer. ये जो question होता है, you are asked a question and below that there is a box given. Suppose your answer is 35. You have to actually enter your answer over here. You have to literally type your answer over here. No MCQs, no options in the answer. Okay, this is called as a non-MCQ question. Obviously, जब मैं non-MCQ बोलती हूँ तो इसमें आपको बड़े-बड़े ऐसे जैसे आंसर्स नहीं लिखने, सिंपल न्यूमेरिकल आंसर ही होता है आपका. ओके, तो वो आपको यहाँ पे लिखना होता है. Right. Okay, now for a non-MCQ question, the bonus point over here is for every correct question you get 3 marks, but there is no negative marking for a wrong question. ठीक है, there is no negative marking for a wrong question. In general, अगर मैं आपको बोलूं, अगर 34 questions है तो करीब 6 questions आप non-MCQ format के definitely expect कर सकते हैं. Okay, so definitely you have a chance over here wherein because there is no negative marking, you can fearlessly attempt these questions. Anyways, इस section के बारे में हम और ज़्यादा detail में बाद में बोलेंगे. फिलहाल हम जिस paper pattern को थोड़ा ध्यान से देख लेते हैं. So 3 sections, guys: verbal ability and reading comprehension, logical reasoning and data interpretation, okay, and quantitative aptitude. Okay, so these are 3 sections. and the marks are also given. Yes, Govind, I will come back to your question in a while. We'll just finish a small part and then we'll answer your questions as well. Okay, right. The time allotted for each of these sections is 60 minutes, which gives you 180 minutes in all. That is 3 hours for the entire paper. Last year, that is for CAT 2020 attempt, you had 2 hours only, 120 minutes for the 76 questions that were asked. So it all depends on what the situation will be this year from point of view of the pandemic. Okay, but in general, this is what the paper pattern is, right? Okay, now moving ahead. Let us see the overview of the syllabus for each section. But before I do that, let me just see, I have a couple of questions over here. Yes, Irshad, I will keep in mind, I will only use English. If you're not comfortable with a little bit of Hindi in between, don't worry. Okay, Govind says, ma'am, is non-MCQ type paper available for exams such as NMAT and others? Yes, Govind, will discuss that in the slides to come. I'm also going to discuss with you all, not just CAT, but some other entrance exams as well. Okay, Govind, so I'll get back to your question. All right, coming back to the subject-wise syllabus. Okay, very quickly we'll go through what the syllabus is. Yes, Govind. Right, okay. So if I talk about the quant syllabus, the quant section, quantitative aptitude section, mathematics section is broadly divided into 5 different areas. The first area is that of arithmetic. Okay, most of the arithmetic topics you've already studied when you were in school. Okay, wherein you had these equations and you had questions based on percentages and calculations on numbers and so on and so forth. The second section is algebra, wherein you will have questions on ages and work and time and all these sections. Okay, the third section obviously is geometry, which is self-explanatory. You've already studied geometry till your 10th standard or 8th standard. Fourth section is number systems. Very interesting section. As you can see, there are 3 questions approximately which are asked on this section. And then you have permutations and combinations. Now, when I talk about the overview for quant syllabus, you need to understand one thing. This is the only section which is going to require a little bit of past knowledge and concepts. Okay, none of us over here would claim that we have never done maths in our life. At least till grade 8, we have all done maths. We all know the basics of equations. We all know the basics of, basic arithmetic calculations, right? Am I right? Okay, so this section is definitely going to require at least some basic knowledge of your past concepts. That goes without saying. Okay, as far as the syllabus for these entrance exams is concerned, children, more than 80% of the syllabus for quant is going to be up to grade 10 standard level. Okay, so whichever board you are from, whether you are from state board or CBSE or ICSE or IGCSE or whatever board you belong to, okay, you need to understand one thing. Whatever you have studied till grade 10, that is going to comprise of 80% of the entire math syllabus. So does that make us feel a little better about quant now? Yes. Okay, the remaining 20% of the syllabus would be a little bit of higher mathematics. Okay, now when I say higher mathematics, it is the part of maths that we usually study in grade 11 and grade 12. Now, for all those of you who did not have maths in grade 11 and grade 12, please do not worry at all. These topics, although being present in the syllabus, are not at a very advanced level. They are at a very, very basic level, which can be easily understood by attending a couple of lectures or by reading a little bit of material based on it. It is totally doable. Okay, it is totally doable and you can easily understand how you're supposed to do these sections of quant. Okay, so there's nothing to worry. So whether you come from a mathematics background or not, whether you come from a technical background or not, this is a totally doable, manageable and scoring section of CAT. Okay, right. Apart from quant section, if I talk about the other 2 sections, they are pretty background neutral. So, this question or this doubt that we have in our mind that, ma'am, I don't come from a very technical background or I have not done maths before, after 10th standard, I don't remember even touching my maths textbook. Do you think I'll be able to crack CAT? Yes, for sure, definitely you can. Okay. In fact, you can even very comfortably solve quant as well. I have been a quant faculty for the last 11 years. I'm teaching CAT students and I've come across students from various backgrounds and I have seen them get completely comfortable with the quant section of CAT. So you do not have to worry. Your background is not, your academic background is not going to have a very, very big impact on your preparation. So you can relax on that front. But if you still have some doubts, please put it in the chats. I'll surely clear it for you. All right. Okay. So can we move ahead to the next section? Are you all clear with the quant section? Yes, no, just put yes or something in the chats. All right. Okay. Thank you for the response, Siddhi. Yes. Okay, so we were just talking about the first section of CAT, that is quant. Right. I've got response from one or two students. What about the others? Are you all okay with this section? Yes?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, that was nice. Okay, moving on to the next section. Yes, Aishwarya, thank you. Overview of the next section, which is LR. Now, the next section is divided into three parts, as I told you before. Okay, the first part is LR, which is logical reasoning. All right. The second part is DI, which is data interpretation. And the third part is DS, which is data sufficiency. Now let us quickly try and understand what each of these sections mean. The first section, which is logical reasoning, okay, is based on puzzle kind of questions. Okay, I'll tell you in detail about what kind of questions you can expect over here, but there is no specific formulae or any basic concept that you need to know to solve logical reasoning. It's, as the name explains itself, it is all based on your own logic. Okay, the second section is data interpretation. This section is usually based on questions which are based on graphs or some kind of analysis of data given in a graph, or data given in the form of some paragraphs which you have to mathematically analyze. Okay, and the third section is data sufficiency. Let's talk about each of these sections in detail one by one. The topics in logical reasoning are these ones, which are linear arrangements, circular arrangements, selection and distribution, quant-based reasoning, Venn diagrams, deductions, roots and networks, clocks, calendars, logical connectives, cubes, and a little bit of decision making. Now, the question is, why is it that we have these topics in a subject like logical reasoning? Why are we studying all this? Okay, you need to understand one thing. Okay, chalo, let me give you a very quick example. Okay, suppose if I give you a condition or a situation, okay, where there are 5 friends, A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, and these 5 friends are sitting on a bench facing north. Okay, so they're facing that side. And then I start giving you a couple of conditions. Like, say for example, A is not sitting on any corner of the bench. Okay, there are how many friends? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 friends, all facing north. Suppose if I tell you A is not sitting on any corner of the bench. Okay, B is sitting on one of the corners. C sits between B and D. Okay, A sits second to the left of E, something like this. Okay, so I give you a couple of conditions related to where each one of them is placed. How will your brain start functioning now? The moment I say the first statement, A does not sit on any of the corners, immediately what will your brain tell you? Okay, that means A sits either here or here or here, one of these 3 places, right? Then if I tell you B sits on one of the corners, okay, which means B is either sitting here or here. Okay, then if I tell you C sits to the left of B, obviously if B is sitting here, though nobody can be on the left of B, right? Which means B is not sitting here, B is definitely sitting here. So what are we doing over here? Are you able to understand what I'm trying to do over here? Based on whatever is given to me, okay, I'm trying to apply my logic and trying to get to the correct answer. I'm trying to reason out the conditions. I'm taking into consideration whatever is given to me, and based on that, I'm trying to arrange the data. Is it giving you a fair idea of what I'm talking about? Okay, so this was just a simple example of linear arrangements. Same way, if you have the arrangements in a form of a circle, it would be circular arrangements. If you have to distribute some data, it would be selection and distribution. Okay, so on and so forth. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Logical reasoning does not have any fixed formula to remember. It does not need any prior knowledge of that subject. You just need to apply your logic and be able to take decisions about the given data. Don't you think this is what you would even have to do when you eventually become managers? You will have to consider the conditions at hand, and according to the conditions at hand, you will have to take decisions which are important for the company. Is it making sense to all of you? Okay, so this section is basically trying and testing your ability to take decisions under given conditions, your ability to consider multiple inputs and work out an output. Isn't it interesting? Yes. Okay. So the more you practice this section, the more you become comfortable with this. And trust me, it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to solve logical reasoning. Okay, so I hope you have got a general idea of what you can expect in logical reasoning. It's simply put, it is just puzzles in different types, and you need to solve it. Okay, yes. Are we all clear with logical reasoning? Just put yes, no, whatever in the chat box. Yes. All right, thank you so much. Okay, moving on. As I told you, logical reasoning is just one part of the second section. The other section is data interpretation and data sufficiency, DI and DS. Okay, DI and DS, made the part of DI consists of the following topics. Now, these first four topics are all graph-based questions. Okay, so graph or calculation-based questions. So like in tables, you would be given data in the form of a table. Okay, bar graphs would be where you would be given data represented by bar graphs. Pie chart, obviously you are all aware of, would be in the form of a distribution of the data in the form of a pie chart. And line graphs, obviously, as you all know, would be distribution of data in the form of a graph represented by a line. All of this information will be given to you in these following representations. It could also be a mixture of more than one representation, and you have to do some calculations and get to the answer. For example, if you are given a data where the production, okay, of motorbikes in a particular automotive company is given to you for 5 different years, okay, starting from 2015, 2016, 17, 18, and 19. Okay, all of this is number of lakhs of units for that particular year. Okay, all this information is given to you over here. Now if I ask you what is the average production of motorbikes for this particular company over the given period of 5 years, what you need to do is you need to simply add all the data divided by 5. Or if I ask you what was the percentage growth in the production of motorbikes from 2015 to 2016. Okay, so here you might have to consider the data of 2015 and 16 and perform some mathematical calculation to understand what was the percentage growth. So basically what you need to do is you need to apply some basic mathematics on the data that is given to you and get to the answer. It's as simple as that. Okay. Apart from that, some really interesting sections are also there in DI, which is games and tournaments, wherein you will be asked questions based on games. You have a separate section called data sufficiency. I'll tell you a little bit in detail about it after some time. You have networks, 3D diagrams, triangle diagrams, reasoning and DI combined together, so on and so forth. Now, what is this part? What is data sufficiency? Okay, suppose if I ask you a question. Suppose if I ask you a question. What is the value of X? That's it. This is my question. Nothing else is given to you. Can you give me the answer for this? Can I get a unique answer for this? Is it possible for me to calculate the answer to this question? What is the value of X? That's it. This is the only thing given. No, we can't, right? Right, Pooja? Absolutely. Okay. Okay. Now, if I add in 2 points over here, where the first point says X belongs to natural numbers, X, okay, is less than 3. Or say, for example, 1. I say X is, okay, X belongs to natural numbers and X lies between, say, X is a prime number. Suppose x belongs to natural numbers, x is a prime number. Okay. Second statement I say, okay, first if I say x belongs to natural numbers, x is a prime number. Now can you tell me the value of x? Natural numbers are numbers which begin with 1. Like if I had to tell you to count, okay, count how many rows are there in this graph. Okay, you would count 1, 2, 3, 4. So like we counting numbers are nothing but natural numbers. So just based on what I have given you in statement A, can you tell me the value of x? Still, yes, no. Come on, I have not asked you such a difficult question, yaar. Come on. I asked you what is the value of x and I gave you one additional condition. X belongs to natural numbers. X is a prime number. Now can you tell me the value of x? Absolutely, Pooja. There are many possibilities. There are infinite prime numbers. There are infinite natural numbers. X could be anything among them. Right? Okay. But suppose if I put another condition over here which says x plus y is equal to 3 and y belongs to natural numbers. Now can you tell me the answer? Because y belongs to natural numbers, y will also start having values from 1. Right? But I have specifically said x is a prime number. Since x is a prime number, it can be either 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever. If I take x as 2, y would be 1. But if I take x as 3, y would become 0, जो कि possible नहीं है. Why? Because y is a natural number. Got it? So now if I use statement A and B together, I can get my answer. So in order to find my answer, I had to use both statements A and B. So both statements A and B together would be sufficient for me to reach to the answer. So you can have multiple conditions over here, wherein you are given a question and you are given 2 additional points which are related to the question. You have to check which of these conditions are enough, are sufficient to reach to your answer. Okay, in some questions you will come across a situation where A alone is sufficient to give you your answer. You might have a question where B alone is sufficient to give you your answer. You might have a question where both A and B together can give you the answer together. Or you might also come across a question where both A and B together also are not enough to give you your answer. You can also come across a situation where A alone is also giving you the answer and B alone is also giving you the answer. So basically you are just checking whether the given data is, as the word suggests, sufficient to give you the answer. Clear to all of you? I hope this has given you a better understanding of what DS is. Yes, no? Yes, guys, please respond. Yes, absolutely. Very good. All right, superb. Thank you so much. Let's move on to the third section now. So the third section is VARC.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please go ahead. Yes.
Data sufficiency might have a multiple choice question, or you said that data
Typing answer. Yes. Very good question, Aniket. Thank you for that. I'll go back to the previous slide for a minute, students. Okay. Data sufficiency as a question would always have, okay, multiple choices. Why? I'll tell you. The choices are given like this. Option A, condition 1. Okay. Suppose there is a question and you are given 2 conditions. Okay. Suppose we have a question over here. Okay. And there are 2 conditions, 1 and 2. So the options would be somewhat like this. That is, statement 1 alone is sufficient to give you your answer. Is sufficient to give the answer. Okay, I'm just writing very quickly. The second would be statement 2 is sufficient to give you your answer. Alone is sufficient to give you your answer. Option C could be both 1 and 2 together give you your answer. Okay, you can have option D wherein both 1 and 2 together are also insufficient to give you the answer. And you have to mark which one of these is correct. Got it? So this always will be a multiple choice question. They are not interested in knowing
Okay,
what
ma'am.
is the actual answer to the question. Okay, so when we saw that
Oh,
example where what is the value of x, so they don't want to know that the value of x is 2 or 3 or whatever. They just want to know that if you have to find the answer, how many given conditions will you have to use among the conditions that they have given to you? Whether one is sufficient or two is sufficient, or you're using both together, or you're using them individually. Got it, Aniket? Okay, so this is a very
yes, ma'am.
interesting
Totally.
section. Yeah. So this is a very interesting section. They don't want to know what the answer is. They just want to know
Ma'am,
how many conditions will be.
is there
Is there
possibility like conditions more than four?
happens, but not in CAT. You can have that in other entrance exams. You can have 5
Okay.
conditions as well. What are the possible options? One is sufficient, or two is sufficient, or both are individually sufficient, or neither one and two are sufficient, or both together are sufficient. So these are the only possible combinations. No? So you can have any 4 out of these 5
Oh,
combinations, or in some exams you even have all 5. Okay, it's
okay,
very
ma'am.
doable.
Thank you.
And yeah, okay, Aniket. And the beauty of this section, data sufficiency, is you can have questions based on maths, you can have questions based on logical reasoning, you can have questions even based on data interpretation as well, depending on whatever condition is given. So you need to have basic understanding of all these 3 sections to be able to solve data sufficiency. Okay, it's a lot of fun when you actually do it. Anyways, coming to the third section, which is VARC. VA and RC basically stands for verbal ability and reading comprehension. But having said that, there is another section which goes without saying. When it is a language, you always have to have grammar. Okay, so what is verbal ability? It is basically your ability to be able to understand the vocabulary of the given language that you're studying. Okay, so say for example, I tell you, I'm very chuffed that you all are attending the session today. So you need to understand what is the meaning of this word. So I'm very pleased that you all are attending this session today. Okay, so I basically it is this section checks or tests your comfort with English language. Okay, so a little bit of strength in the vocabulary section, in your fluency or command over the language is expected, but it is not something that cannot be developed with time. You definitely can. Okay, we provide you a lot of the requisite tools to be able to do that. Okay, reading comprehension is something that we have been doing since we were in school. You are given a passage and you are given questions based on it which you have to answer. And grammar basically is asked in a very interesting way. Okay, grammar is asked in the form of sentence correction, or in the form of idioms and phrases, or in the form of replacing a particular clause. So it's a very interesting section as well. So VARC grammar is all part of English language, or the English section. Let us see in detail what are the type of questions that are asked. Okay, so you can have questions which are fill in the blank type, where you need to put in the correct word that matches the statement. You can have questions based on verbal reasoning, sentence completion, correction of the sentence, a little bit of grammar here and there, reading comprehension, paragraph jumbling. Okay, it's also called as para jumbles. Okay, I'll tell you what para jumbles are. Very interesting. Paragraph completion, paragraph summary, or different usage of the same word, so on and so forth. Okay, now what are para jumbles? Let me tell you this very interesting section. Suppose if I tell you statement A, and so she went searching for him. Okay, statement B, he was planning a surprise for her. Or suppose if I say, since a long time, he was planning a surprise for her. He sneaked out of the house to get her gift. She called out to him, but there was no response. So this is what it is. So how will we arrange this to make sense out of these four statements? So you can form it in the form of a story. Like, since a long time he was planning a surprise for her. So he sneaked out of the house to get her a gift. Okay. She called out to him, but there was no response. And so she went searching for him. So basically, you will be given a couple of statements and you have to arrange them in the correct order so that they make sense and they connect with each other. So that is para jumbles. Interesting? Okay. So this is all part of English language. Nothing very difficult, nothing to get scared of. Okay. As Indians, many of us do not have English as our first language that we speak at home. Okay, many of us are more comfortable with the language that we have always been speaking at home. So English for many of us is possibly a second language and is not something that we are very, very comfortable or fluent in. But trust me, it is a totally doable section. It is not something that you cannot, develop over time with the right kind of resources, with the right kind of training, with the right amount of hard work. This is a section which can really become one of your strongest areas. Okay, there are a lot of techniques even in English language, in grammar, which if you have at hand, you can easily crack this section as well. Okay, so are we clear about all these three sections as far as the syllabus is concerned? Yes, no? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay. Now, before I move ahead, I want to make something very clear to all of you. Now, CAT is not the only management level entrance exam. There are a lot of other exams, which, sometime back, even one of the students had asked me about NMAT as an exam. We will be visiting that as well in some time. Okay. But when it comes to the syllabus for these entrance exams, the syllabus is almost the same for all. If I had to have a scale, if I had to have a scale and I had to tell you this scale has a ranking, for difficulty level from 0 to 10. And if I had to rate CAT at a difficulty level of say 10 on 10, the other entrance exams other than CAT are all in a range of say 9.5, right, going down up to 4 out of 10. So when you prepare for an exam like CAT, you're automatically preparing for every other management level entrance exam because the syllabus, the basic syllabus in general is all the same. For a couple of exams, you might have a little lesser syllabus than this, but definitely not beyond this. Okay, so when we prepare for CAT as an entrance exam, we are in general preparing for any other entrance exam that we plan to give as far as our MBA is concerned. I'll tell you about those entrance exams as well in a while. Is this clear to all of you? Having said that, there will be a couple of entrance exams which have one additional section called as general awareness or GK. Okay, but that is something that we have to develop by reading and by keeping ourselves updated with whatever is going on around us, right? Okay, that is not something that I can teach you. I can't tell you, okay, come on, today let's sit and learn some general knowledge. Okay, that is something that you have to take in on your own. Okay, but just remember, everything that you're studying for CAT is going to help you for every other management level entrance exam. All right, okay. Now, if I talk about how the entrance exams, how the CAT entrance exam is actually conducted, okay, so usually it is conducted in slots. It's an online entrance exam, and whenever it used to be conducted, in the pre-pandemic era, you had to actually go to a center. Even now, you will be required to do that. You have to go to a center and you have to give your exam at that center. That center would host this exam in 3 different slots or 2 different slots depending on the situation. Each slot will have a different set of questions. So slot 1 will have different set of questions. So say for example, if suppose Shreyas and Siddhi and Sonali Tanmay are in slot 1, they would all be facing the same questions, but because they are all sitting and giving the test at the same time, nobody can tell the other one what is there in the paper beforehand. Okay, then suppose say Tanya and suppose Shivani and and Mansi and I are in slot 2. Okay, we are in slot 2. we will have a different set of questions altogether. So say for example, the students who came out from slot 1, I go and I ask them, please tell me what questions you had. It's going to be of no use for me. I'm going to have a totally different set of questions for my slot. Okay, then suppose Nisha and Ashita and Govind and all, they have slot 3. They can't ask us what is asked in the question paper. They are going to have a totally different set of questions. Okay, so one doubt that children always have is, ma'am, what if one slot is easier and the other is more difficult? Then it's our loss. What if we get the difficult slot? Then we'll get lesser marks. So I want you to understand that even your scores are calculated on the basis of your slot only. Okay, so you don't have to worry. You will not be competing with another student who's given an easier slot. But also, having said that, we need to understand that when the paper for time is set, for CAT is set, they make sure that the difficulty level for every slot is maintained. Okay, you can have a look at this CAT 2020 analysis right in front of you. I'll help you through this. Okay, listen to all this very carefully. Okay, so in CAT 2020, in the VARC section, there were 26 questions. If you remember, I told you CAT 2020 didn't have 100 questions. It had 76 questions. You know? So out of these 26 questions, 6 questions were non-MCQ type, that is the type in the answer type, and 20 were MCQ type. The time limit was 40 minutes. In slot 1, it was moderate. The level of difficulty was moderate, and so was the level of difficulty in the second and the third slot as well. In order to get a 99 percentile, I'll tell you what percentile is in a while. You had to get a score of 40 to 42. That is, you had to have a good attempt of around 20 to 22 questions out of 26. Okay, out of 26. But at the same time in slot 2, even an attempt of 18 to 20 questions would have helped you reach a 99 percentile slot, and a 17 to 19 questions attempt would have given you a 99 percentile score. So are you getting this? Slot wise, you're going to get your score. You don't have to worry about which slot you got and whether it is going to affect your result. Similarly, if you see the other 2 sections as well, now that you've got an idea how I read this table, DI and LR section had 24 questions. 6 questions were non-MCQ type. Again, 40 minutes. The level, although in slot 1 was moderate, but in slot 2 and 3, it was difficult. And hence, you will see this difference in these numbers over here. Can you see this? Okay, in slot 1, probably a good attempt of 12 to 13 questions in DI out of 24 questions could help you get a 99 percentile score, but that reduced to around 9 to 11 questions only in slot 3. Do you see the difference? Shocking. Okay, now even if I consider the biggest number over here, which is 13, okay, and if I compare it with the total number of questions, you will see that this is even lesser than 60% of the total number of questions that are asked. Half of 24 is 12, a little more than 50% of the questions. So in a way, you need to understand that when it comes to a paper like CAT, you are not supposed to attempt every question. The trick in CAT is how well you choose to attempt the questions. I'll tell you that, Pooja. Just give me a while. The next slide we are going to discuss. Okay? Okay, so please try and understand this. Your paper, you don't have to worry whether you get a difficult slot or an easy slot. All the students who have given the paper in your slot are going to have the same situation, and you will be given your scores based on your slot only. Okay, but how it is calculated, I'll tell you a little bit more in detail in the next slide. Okay, so Pooja, I'm sure this will answer your question. So how do you calculate percentile? Now, before I explain to you how the percentile is calculated, we need to understand one thing. These are 2 totally different words, all right? They do not mean the same. Percentage is calculated on the basis of your marks upon total marks into 100. So say, for example, you have 70 marks out of say 120. Your score will be calculated as 76 upon 120 into 100. Simple. Everybody's score will be calculated in that way only. So this is percentage. But when I talk about percentile, the entire calculation changes. How is this percentile calculated? Let us see. Now, CAT percentile is calculated in the following manner. It is 1 minus your rank in CAT upon total number of candidates taking CAT into 100. Your rank in CAT upon total number of candidates appearing for CAT exam into 100. As an example, suppose if the total number of candidates who are appearing for CAT exam is 1 lakh and you score a rank of 3,500. Okay, what do you mean by a rank of 3,500? Obviously, the one who got maximum marks would be rank 1, right? Okay, so your rank among these 1 lakh students for that particular slot is 3,500. Okay, then your percentile position would be like this: 1 minus your rank, which is 3,500, upon total number of candidates taking CAT, which is 1 lakh, multiplied multiplied by 100. Which gives you 96.5 percentile. This is not percentage. A few things to keep in mind. So if you go to see, if I tell you, you know, what is your rank? If I ask you what is your rank in CAT, you'll be like, oh, my rank is very low. It's only 3,500. Okay, 3,500. Where do I stand here? Right? But if I ask you, okay, tell me what is your CAT percentile? See, it's 96.5 percentile, which is quite a big number, isn't it? Okay, so few things to keep in mind when it comes to percentile is, first, 96.5 percentile means 96.5% of the students writing the CAT exam have a CAT score lower than yours. Okay, so 96.5% of the students. So say for example, 2.5 lakh students gave this entire exam. Out of 2.5 lakh students, 96.5% of the students who attempted this exam have got marks lesser than you. Okay. No candidate can score an absolute 100 percentile in CAT. The maximum score that you can get in CAT is 99.99 percentile. Why? Because this score actually is an indication of what percentage of students you are ahead of. So how can you be ahead of 100% of the students? Aren't you one of them? Right? Okay, so 96.5 percentile means you are ahead of 96.5% of the students who gave the CAT exam. So if you have 100 percentile, it means you are ahead of 100% of the students. That's not possible, na? So that is why you will never have a total 100 percentile score in CAT. The maximum that you can get is 99.99. Is this clear to all of you? Yes. Pooja, has this answered your question? You definitely have this +3 -1 system. Okay, I'll tell you how it is calculated. Now, Pooja has a question even related to the +3 -1 system and how it is calculated. So when your marks are calculated, children, it is calculated on the basis of your correct attempts and your wrong attempts as well. So suppose if in all, okay, suppose in quant section, suppose in the quant section, out of say 34 questions, okay, I had 26 MCQs and I had 6 non-MCQs. Okay, please be with me. Out of this 26 MCQs, okay, I was able to attempt 18 correctly. Okay, and I had 2 wrong. This is a very good attempt, by the way. Okay, I have 18 correct answers and 2 wrong answers. And over here in the non-MCQ section, I attempted all 6 because I know I have nothing to fear. Okay, but out of these 6 questions, I got only 4 correct. And I got 2 wrong. What will be my score? So these 2 wrong questions that I got in the non-MCQs, I don't have to worry about. There is no negative marking. So total number of correct questions that I have is 18 plus 4. That gives me how much? 22 questions. For each correct question, I'll get 3 marks. So that gives me 66 marks in all. But I also have 2 wrong MCQs. For every wrong question, I have -1 deduction in MCQ type. So this will be -2. So my overall score in that section will be 64. Is this clear? This is how the scores are calculated for every section. And then you get your total consolidated score from point of view of your CAT attempt. All right, okay. But now the question is, how many marks do I need to score to actually get a good percentile? Okay, Now, this is the table in front of you. I want you to see this table very carefully. And when I say correct attempts, I'm talking about 34 questions in general in a particular section. 32 to 34 questions. Okay. So if, say, for example, I have 23 correct attempts in that section, I'm going to get 69 marks, and it is going to give me a percentile of 71.5. Okay. Now, this 23 attempts is not just for those 34 questions, by the way. This is for the entire CAT paper. That is for all the 100 questions together. Okay. So out of 100 questions, if I'm able to solve 23 questions correctly, only 23, which is not even 1/4 of the paper, okay, I will still be in a position where I can score a 71.5 percentile, which is a decent percentile score. Okay. As I increase my correct attempts, do you see the increase in the marks, which is obvious, but the increase in the percentile as well? I want you to look here. What is the percentile score here? It is 99 percentile, right? But how many questions was I actually required to attempt correctly? Just 52 out of 100. Of course, over here I'm considering that the remaining 48 questions, okay, are not going to result in any negative marking, because 52 into 3 is going to give me 156. So you have to balance your attempt accordingly. This attempt with so many lesser number of questions itself is enough to give me a 99 percentile score. Is it still scary? Tell me. What do you think? Now, to get a call from the top IIMs, we definitely have to make sure that we maintain our score to a 99.4 percentile plus if I want calls from the top 5 IIMs. But sir has already discussed in yesterday's session with you how the percentile score, even lesser than 99 percentile, can still give you such a wonderful college. So any score, you know, above 70 percentile is pretty decent to give you a decent college. But even then, obviously, since you know, the correct kind of strategies can even help you get a 99 percentile plus. So now the question is, do you still believe that scoring 99 percentile is difficult? Now, some of you might say, no, ma'am, now we think it is easy. Some of you might say, ma'am, we still think it is difficult. So for all those of you who still feel it is difficult, I have some more things to tell you in the next 15-20 minutes. Okay. Yes, but I again ask my question to all of you. Do you still feel that getting 99 percentile is very difficult? It is unachievable. It is going to require too much of effort and hard work. Mushkil lag raha hai. Do you still feel that? Answer me. No, right? Yes, that's the spirit. Very good. Because when you have this spirit, nothing can stop you. But I've got only 3 answers, huh? And I actually have around 30 students listening to me right now. Yes. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you for the quick responses. Okay. So this might be able to. Yes, Tanmay, you said it absolutely correctly. Tanmay, what Tanmay is saying is absolutely right. Tanmay over here says smart work is required. Yes, absolutely, Tanmay. Smart work is going to help you out. And what this smart work is, I'll tell you in the upcoming 10-15 minutes how is it that you can actually reach this score with a decent amount of effort and the right kind of dedication and sincerity. We'll get to that. But this is just a chart for some comparisons of couple of exams. We are going to visit a little bit, details about all these exams in the next slide. But I want you to observe one thing over here. All of you pay keen attention to what I'm saying. In CAT, okay, a 98 percentile is almost equivalent to a high score in any other entrance exam. But as the score for CAT reduces from excellent to very good, from very good to good, and then from good to average, okay, do you see the comparison in the scores still? Observe. This is a very important point over here. scoring a 97 percentile in CET is equivalent to scoring a 75 percentile in CAT. And what is it that you need to do to get a 75 percentile in CAT? Look here, observe these two things over here. How many correct attempts did I require? Anywhere between 23 to 28 attempts. Probably around 25 to 28 attempts should be good enough, out of 100 questions, by the way, should be good enough to give me a decent 75 percentile score in CAT. Do you think it is so difficult to get that? Can we not answer even 25 to 30 questions out of 100 after a good amount of preparation? Yes. Okay. So this entire fear about CAT as an exam, okay, I don't know whether I'll be able to give CAT or no, it's a very tough exam, you know, a lot of children are not able to clear it. This would probably give you some correct kind of insights as to CAT. It is not a very dangerous or scary exam. It is a totally doable exam with the right kind of strategies in place and the correct kind of guidance and study methodology. Okay, but having said that, obviously the other entrance exams are not lesser than CAT. Okay, they're as important as CAT because they also open some open doors to some very, very good colleges. Okay, so let's talk about the next few exams. Okay, now before I go to the next slide, is there anything you would want to ask me? Please either unmute and ask me or simply put it in the chats. Because in the next few slides, you're going to
can I
discuss
ask you a
about,
question?
yeah. Please go ahead. Aniket, is it you?
How much time it's required? Like 1 year is sufficient for preparation?
All right. I will give that answer. It's a very, very important question. And thank you so much for this question. It's a beautiful question. Aniket is asking me how much time is required for preparation of CAT. Right. Now, ideally, you should be beginning in your pre-final year. So say, for example, yes, Sonali, I'll get to that question as well. Okay. So ideally, you should be starting in your pre-final year. So say, for example, you are doing a 3-year degree course. The best time to begin your preparation is from second year. Yes, Pooja, I'll be sharing it with you in a while. Okay, so the best time to prepare for your studies is second year onwards. So if you're doing a 3-year course, the best time to start doing it is from second year onwards. So when you enter into your second year is the time when you need to start preparing. I'll tell you why. See, CAT exam is usually held in the month of November. Okay, if you are doing a 3-year program, if you're doing a 3 years graduation program, which if I assume has 6 semesters in all, okay, 2 semesters in each year. Okay, so in that case, November would be when you would be in your 5th semester. Try and understand this. Let me explain it to you little more clearly. I have some very interesting questions in the chats. I will come back to each and every question of yours, children. Let's just complete with this question. Okay. Suppose you are in your final year in the year 2021. You have just entered into your final year and you are a student who is doing a 3-year program, say a BSc or a BBA or a BCom or whatever. Okay. It's a 3-year program. Suppose. Okay. Just a minute. All right, somebody has unmuted. Could you please mute yourself? One of you has, I think by mistake, yes, thank you so much. So suppose you are in a 3-year program and you are in your final year right now. Okay, so which year did you enter into your final year? You entered into your final year in the year 2021 and probably you are in your 5th semester. If you are in your 5th semester in your 3-year program, you are totally eligible to give CAT 2021, which will be in the month of November 2021. This leaves you with approximately 5 months of preparation. Am I right? Okay, say half of July, August, September, October, and half of November. Right? I would still say it's only 4 months. I will not consider it as 5 months. So August, September, October, 3 months. Okay, and half of July and half of November. So we have 4 months in hand, say for example. Okay, so November 2021 आप आराम से दे सकते हो. 4 months का preparation वक्त आपके पास होगा. Now, when you give your November attempt, the result comes, you say in the month of January, Jan 2022. By the time the entire admission process, you get your calls, then you have your interviews, you have your group discussion, you have the personality assessment, blah, 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 blah. By the time the entire process gets completed, you will already finish your final year. And in the month of June 2022, you will be all set to begin your MBA. So if you are a final year student in a 3-year program, you can definitely be eligible to give CAT 2021. Now, is this much time sufficient to prepare for my CAT? Absolutely sufficient. If you have attended yesterday's session that Vishal sir had conducted, Vishal sir had said you need approximately 700 hours of sincere studies. Of course, this is excluding the sessions or the lectures that you attend for CAT preparation. 700 hours of self-study. Now you'll be like, ma'am, 700 hours is too much. 700 hours kisko bolte hain? Kuch nahi, 700 hours is not a very big thing. 700 hours ko divide by 4 karo. Gives you 175. 175, say for example, you you study only for 25 days in a month, leaves you with 7. So even if you can dedicatedly put 7 to 8 hours of study on a daily basis, or at least 6 days a week, starting even from 15th of July, you can still crack CAT effortlessly. Effortlessly, as in you have to put in effort of 7 to 8 hours, but you can easily, comfortably crack CAT 2021. If you are in the final year in 2021 in a 4-year program, you are probably in your 7th semester by now, in which case you can still give your CAT 2021, which will be in November 21. And again, you will have 4 months to prepare for this particular exam for CAT. The other exams, you'll have more time. All right. So if you are a final year student, you are eligible for CAT 2021. If you are in your pre-final year as in, if you are doing a 3-year program, then in that case, right now, you must be in your 3rd semester. You must have just entered 2nd year in the month of June, right? Okay. In which case, you will be eligible to give CAT 2022. Okay. Which will be in the month of November 2022. Which leaves you with a good, at least 15 to 16 months to prepare. Right? And 15 to 16 months definitely are more than sufficient to have a good hold on CAT. Definitely. Even if you put in like 2 to 3 hours of sincere studies, 5 days a week, you should be good to go for a good attempt in CAT. Okay, an excellent attempt in CAT, I would say. Okay, so if you're planning to give CAT 2022 and you are in your pre-final year, in your 3rd semester in the 3-year program, you are eligible. If you're doing a 4-year program, then you are probably in your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th semester. In which case you can again give CAT 2022 in November 2022 and the story continues. So check for yourself what kind of course you are doing, which semester you are in. Many a times students also take a year gap and give the next year's CAT, which is absolutely okay. But I want you to know that if you give CAT 2021, you will be taking admission in your MBA in June 2022. If you give your CAT 2022 ka attempt, November 2022, you will be doing your MBA in June 2023 to 2025. Is this clear to all of you? Is this clear to all of you? Yes. All right. Aniket,
Yes.
has this answered your question?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Ma'am, is there any like attempt? What I mean to say,
Limitations?
is there any attempt like 5 attempt is compulsory? Like
No, you can give as many
limit of
attempts as
attempt?
you want. You can give as many attempts as you want.
Okay.
Not a problem at all. So many a times what students do is they give their CAT 2021. Okay, all those of the students who are not, say for example, prepared, or they are prepared, they give their CAT 2021 attempt, but they are not very happy with their score and they decide to give another attempt also. You can very well give it. Every score of CAT is valid only for 1 year, only for that year. You cannot use your CAT 21 score to get admission in CAT 2022. That we need to be clear about. Okay, but you can give as many attempts as you want. There is no capping on the number of attempts. Okay, Nisha, I hope I have answered your question as well. Okay, Mansi says, I'm in my first year and in next year I will be giving my second semester exam. So can I join in August when I'm in my second year? Mansi, in fact, we have a lot of students with us who start preparing for CAT right from their first year itself. So students who are doing a 3-year program, we also have students who start preparing right from their first year. So as soon as they finish their 12th standard, they approach us and they say, since we want to do it parallelly with our studies, we would prefer to do it in a span of 2.5 years instead of 1.5 year. So you can even join right away also and start preparing at your own pace, where a little bit of CAT preparation daily also will, it'll become a part of your system. So we have that option as well. So we have students in their first year also, second year also, and final year also. Okay, Siddhi has other crash courses to compensate for the lost time. Yes, Siddhi. If you are in your final year already, you can enroll for a crash course and prepare for CAT. As I've already told you, the amount of time that you will have to put in on a daily basis for studies would be on a higher side, but you can definitely do it. Sayukta says, if commerce students wish to join in the first year, if commerce students, please join in the first year. It's my personal experience. All right, Sayukta, I will convey your message to all the students. If Sayukta says with her personal experience that if you're a commerce student, it is preferred if you join in the first year itself. All right, Sayukta, I've already said, given your message to everyone. All right, so we do have all these options, so you don't have to worry. Right from 2.5 year program to 1.5 year program to a 1 year program to a 6 months program to a 4-month crash course, you have every possible combination that we can offer to you. All right, it is possible to study in all these modes, but you need to understand now. You have understood already. Lesser the time you have to prepare, more hard work you need to put in on a daily basis to be able to crack this exam or any exam in general. All right, okay. So let's move on with the next set, the next few slides now. Pooja, I will get back to your question on a general study plan as well. Okay, right. So what is the magic of CAT? First thing is CAT can provide you great placements even at 60 percentile score. Okay, Vishal sir has already shared a lot of insights on you based on this in yesterday's session as to what are the average placements that you get even with a score which is not a very high score from point of view of numbers, but you can get very good placements even at 60 percentile. Around 2,000 business schools. A B school is nothing but an MBA college. Around 2,000 business schools accept the CAT score. Okay, so it's not just the IIMs, 2,000 business schools. A huge demand for MBA graduates across MNCs and startups ensures that excellent placements take place not only at the top, the premier B schools like the IIMs, but also in the mid-level B schools. So there's nothing to feel worried about if you don't get a very strong score. We can still work out a very, very good plan for you to have a bright career and a bright future. You just need to put in sincere efforts in your preparation, and that's what we need. Okay, so this is the magic of CAT. Now comes a very important slide. I request all of you to please take a screenshot or maybe just take a photograph of the slide or whatever you need to take. This is just an exam comparison of all the other exams with respect to CAT. So let me just walk you through this entire slide. CAT, as I have already told you, has 3 sections: VARC, DILR, and QA. Each section is for 1 hour. Most questions are MCQs, but you also have non-MCQ type questions for which there will be no negative marking. So +3, -1 for an MCQ question, and +3 and 0 for a non-MCQ question. Only 3 subjects. All right. If I talk about another exam, which is XAT, Xavier's Aptitude Test. Okay, this is for all the Xavier's group of colleges. The exam consists of quantitative aptitude, verbal ability, logical reasoning, another section called as decision making, and general awareness. Now decision making is already a part of logical reasoning in a way, okay, but they give more importance to decision making as well as general awareness. So this is an extra thing. So how is it different from CAT? It has decision making and also some part of general awareness. The third exam that we are looking at over here is IIFT, Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Okay, so specifically for students who are looking for a post-graduation in foreign trade or international business, this is a wonderful B school to be in. It has around 25 questions in quantitative aptitude, around 35 questions in English, 30 questions in the LR and DI section, and also has 20 questions on GK. Okay, so on an average 110 questions are to be answered in 120 minutes. So you have less than a minute per question. Total 300 marks का पूरा paper होता है. What is different in an IIFT entrance exam? It's very calculation intensive. General awareness is given a lot of importance, and they have a very differential marking scheme. If you notice, you will have some questions which would be for 3 marks. You might have some questions which are for 1 mark. So there's no specific marking pattern like CAT. All right. The next entrance exam is SNAP, which is for Symbiosis International University. Have you heard about Symbiosis? Very famous name. Okay. Again, Symbiosis would have verbal ability, logical reasoning, maths, that is quantitative aptitude. Maths and data interpretation is taken together in a Symbiosis exam. Okay. It has 105 MCQ questions and only 5 non-MCQ questions. And it is a paper of 2.5 hours. The trick to crack Symbiosis entrance exam, SNAP. It is very speedy. You need to focus more on your, not just on accuracy, but your speed. More the number of attempts, correct attempts, the better will be your score. Is that clear to all of you? All right. The next exam is NMAT, which is Narsi Munji Aptitude Test. This is for NM. Yes, can you all hear me? Kindly reply in the chats. Can you all hear me? Yes. All right. All right. Thank you for the response. I think I lost a little bit of part in between. I think you were not able to hear me. So I'll just repeat the last part again. Okay. I was talking about NMAT. Yes. Okay. I'll repeat the last part again. Don't worry. So I was talking about NMAT. So every section has different time limit. Okay. So we need to keep this in mind. For MBA CET, you have 200 questions. So what is different in an NMAT? You have different sectional time limits. Okay. NMIMS, very important exam. We should not skip this. Then we have MBA CET, of course, our very own Maharashtra CET. No negative marking at all, but you have 200 questions which have to be solved within 150 minutes. So you have almost just 40 to 45 seconds per question. Okay. Because there is no negative marking, this is a very speed intensive paper. You need to have very good speed. Okay. There is a high weightage on LR as well. If you notice, 100 questions out of 200 are based only on logical reasoning, okay, and the visual reasoning, whereas 50-50 questions each are there in English and the mathematics and DI section. So MBA CET is a very doable exam, but it is very speed intensive. So the approach that you require is very different over here. So apart from this, there are a lot of other entrances as well, which are very specific from point of view of student requirement. But these exams in general are some of the important ones. I hope you have got a clear idea of the difference between these exams. The syllabus as such remains almost the same. All right. Now we come to the most important part, that is, yes, please tell me.
Ma'am, do all these exams have negative marking except for CET?
All the negative marking except CET.
Ma'am, could you please go to last slide?
Yes. Okay.
So ma'am, in here you have put that IIFT is very calculation intensive based exam, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
in such calculation intensive exam, how are the students are expected to score great marks even when negative marking is there present in the exam?
All right, all right. Okay. So Sayukta, that's a wonderful question. And I'll answer this question in a very, very honest manner. Okay. When it comes to calculation intensive questions, the trick over here is lies in your practice with using techniques that are taught to you specifically in quant. Okay, so when it comes to calculation based questions wherein you have to do like huge calculations in a lesser amount of time, there are a lot of techniques that you can use to reduce the time required in calculation. Okay, also I'll come to that, Gaurav, just a minute. Okay, that is the first point. Second point is when I talk about calculation intensive, it is not only from point of view of calculating say for example a 4-digit number multiplied by a 5-digit huge number. Sometimes calculation intensive can also be based on the amount of logic that you need to apply to get to that answer. For example, if you are familiar with the concept of permutations and combinations, Sayukta, okay, then in such questions it is very important that you get to the correct logic to be able to solve it. Okay, are you familiar with factorials and permutations and combinations and all these things, Sayukta? Right. So in such questions, it is very important that you use the right kind of technique to reach to the answer quickly. Sometimes these techniques also involve, tricks like eliminating the most unlikely option. Many a times you have to use techniques like eliminating the option. Many a times you need to choose the closest possible answer. Many a times you need to use a couple of techniques in number systems and maths to be able to reach to our answer. Okay, so the basic concepts that you require over here are very, very important. Okay, yes, Kumar sir. Okay, so the basic concepts that you require over here are very important. So we need to do a lot of practice when it comes to cracking these kind of questions. So obviously, having said that, the kind of challenge that you face as a student is going to be faced by every other student who's appearing for an IIFT paper. Okay, so you are all sailing eventually in the same boat, right? Okay, so we need to keep this in mind as well. So Sayukta, there is a reason why every particular exam has its own way of conducting the paper. Okay, so we need to keep this in mind. But when they say calculation intensive, definitely the reason why they are keeping it calculation intensive is because their particular course, their flagship programs require students who have a very, very strong analytical mindset or an analytical approach towards solving questions. So that is why they have more calculative intensive questions. A paper like that would have a little higher level on English, because they want they will give more preference to the communication skills or the command on English language. Okay, right. Now NMAT as an exam does not have negative marking. NMIMS का जो NMAT का exam है, it does not have negative marking, but the way the exam is conducted is slightly different from any other usual exam. Okay, so that is a topic which we can discuss sometime later. But NMAT also does not have negative marking. I'm sorry, I only said CET, but even NMAT does not have negative marking as such. Okay, right. So Sayukta, if you really need to connect with me more on discussing this, we can speak a little bit more in detail after I complete the session. But I hope I have given you an answer to your question. All right, Sayukta. Thank you. So we come to the most important part. I'm going to take the next 10 minutes with you to discuss this. How to study. Okay. How do we start preparing? How do we begin? कहाँ से शुरू करें? Okay. What should be our approach? So the most important thing is to make and follow a timetable for preparation apart from your classroom and online lectures. Okay, so right now we are all studying online. Eventually, there'll be better times when we will all meet in the classroom and we will be studying. But you need to have a proper timetable in place. Now, when I say a timetable, the general rule is simple. Whatever is taught in the classroom should be completed immediately at that time. Don't keep it hanging for long. So by the end of the week, you should already have finished whatever is taught to you in the classroom. Second thing, when it comes to making a timetable, devote a separate amount of time to sharpen your skills as far as your calculations are concerned, as far as your comfort with calculations is concerned. Devote some separate amount of time in your timetable to do additional amount of reading, so that your general awareness and English language is taken care of. Okay, so what is important is to make timetable. Now, many a times, you know, in that josh of studying, we end up making a month-long timetable and we don't follow it even for 2 days. So micromanage, keep small targets, keep targets for this week. Okay, so this week I'm going to complete this much. Okay, by the end of 15 days I should be in this position. So that's how you can micromanage and make your timetable. Okay, be consistent in your preparation. It shouldn't happen that, you know, in the beginning you are giving a lot of effort in studying, and then eventually you get bored and then you leave your studies. Be consistent, be realistic. Okay, every single day you need to contribute a little bit in your preparation towards these entrance exams. Consistency is the key. Okay, think through the questions and create your own shortcuts. Now, this is something that you are able to create when you understand a particular topic conceptually. Okay, so even if it is mathematics, the concept is what is going to be important rather than the formulae. In CAT, it is very rare that you will find a question which is based only on one single chapter. Most of the times you are supposed to use concepts from 2-3 different chapters together to be able to solve that particular question. So you can have a question which is using concepts of ratio and proportion, as well as averages, as well as interest to give you the answer. Okay, you could have a question which is using work and time, as well as say percentages to give you your answer. So you need to create your own shortcuts, and this comes only with one thing. Nobody can teach you this. The more you practice, the more you're going to come up with your own shortcut techniques to be able to solve faster. Okay, very important, very important, avoid using too many diverse resources. Now, since the pandemic has hit all of us, we are all used to, you know, researching a lot on mediums like YouTube, and coming across a lot of resources online that we use to study, that we use generally to study. Now, these resources all the time might not be able to give you, you know, the exact amount of information that you need. Yes, Nisha, just a minute. Okay, so avoid using too many resources to study. Stick to one thing and do it completely. Say, for example, you start with a book, you do it completely, and then you think of another book on the same topic. You do a little bit from here, a little bit of there, a little bit from here. Eventually, you're not doing completely anything of any book. Are you getting what I'm trying to tell you? Okay, so say, for example, you need to study the topic equations. You watch a video on YouTube of one channel, then you watch a video on YouTube of another channel. You've learned a little from every video. But eventually, if I combine everything together, it's not going to give you complete information on that chapter, is it? So use one particular resource. Say, for example, you've joined an institute like Time. Use the resources of Time, completely exhaust those resources, and only when you're done with it, you look for additional resources. Otherwise, it's not necessary at all. Okay? Yes, Nisha, you wanted this slide? Okay, Nisha? Second is study mathematics in a different way. Okay, study mathematics in a different way. Don't follow the classroom approach that we used to have when we were in school, you know, wherein we'll learn the formulae and then we'll solve similar questions of the same type. We'll do multiple questions of the same type. No. When I say solve mathematics in a different way, try to challenge yourself with different level of questions. At Time, we give you different levels of questions for every chapter. So you have questions which are concept based, then you have questions which are basic, then intermediate, then difficult. Challenge yourself to go one step ahead every time. Go out of your comfort zone. Get back to the basics. Do not hesitate to open even your 8th standard, 9th standard, 10th standard mathematics textbook again to get to the basics. Okay. If you are confused about a topic, teach that topic to somebody. Many a times when you teach that topic, you learn better. Okay. Try to teach that to somebody. The more you practice, the more expertise you will have in that subject. Daily practice of each section is a must. Don't do something like, you know, okay, for 3 days I'll do maths and for the remaining 3 days I'll do DI, DS and LR and English. No. Daily practice of each section is a must. Even if it is just for 20 minutes, devote 20 minutes, solve one reading comprehension. Okay, devote 20 minutes, solve one reading comprehension. Give half an hour, do one set of DI. Give another half an hour, do at least one set of LR. Read one page of a novel. Do at least give 1.5 hours to solve a couple of questions in quant. Visit each and every section daily. Okay. Question selection is more important than question solving. This is very important. It is very important to select the right kind of question. As I've already told you in the previous slides, what was the number of questions that you needed to attempt correctly to get a 71.5 percentile score? It was approximately 23 to 25 questions out of 100, right? Which of the 25 questions are you going to solve out of 100? It all depends on how good you are at selecting the question which you will be able to solve. See, when you're clear with your concepts, when you have done enough amount of practice, just a glance at the question will be enough for you to decide whether you should devote 1 minute or 2 minutes to that question or skip it and go to the next question. Go for the questions which you individually find easy. Start with the easy questions first. After you are completely confident with the easy questions, then you move to the medium level questions and then you touch the difficult level ones. Don't mix them together. Always go level wise. So question selection is very important, not only during practice, but also in your paper. Okay, how to study? Don't think of cutoffs at this stage. Right now, when you're studying, don't think of, okay, even if I study this much, it's okay. Na? As it is, I have to solve only 50 questions. As it is, I have to solve only 70 questions out of 100. No, right now, you don't think about your cutoffs and your percentile score and all that. Right now, you just need to focus on your concept building. See, I told you, in a paper like CAT or any other management level entrance exam, you will not have a question which is based on just one chapter. You can have a question which is going to use concepts of different chapters. Okay, so do not think of cutoffs and all at this stage. Just focus on studying. Keep modifying your preparation plan based on your skill improvement. Okay, so say for example, today you've decided I'll do 10 questions of quant daily. Okay, after a week, so on day 1, you took 2 hours to do 10 questions. On day 2, you could finish those 10 questions, say in 1 hour and 45 minutes. By day 7, you are able to do, say, 10 questions within 1 hour. So instead of sticking to the number of questions in that to be done, work more on skill improvement. So if you're devoting 2 hours, if on day 1 you could do only 10 questions in 2 hours, by the end of 15th or 20th day, check. Now, how many questions am I able to do in 2 hours? So modify your preparation plan based on how you are improving. Be very conscious every single day of what you are getting better at. Okay, your competition is most with yourself. You just cannot avoid understanding the concepts. You cannot solve CAT just on the basis of some formulae or some random tricks that are taught to you. You have to know your concepts properly. And I'm saying this with complete confidence, being a CAT trainer myself. Okay, it is very important that you give at least a minimum of 20 mocks. What are mocks? Mocks are nothing but full length papers which are very similar to the actual exams. Okay, so if CAT is an actual exam, you'll have a mock CAT, a practice CAT. If CET is an actual exam, you'll have a mock CET. At time, we give you something which is called as all India mocks. So when you give an exam, okay, you are going to give that exam along with all the students preparing for this course in all the 256 branches of time across India. So with the lakhs of students together, you are going to give that particular all India mock. And when you get your score, it is going to be with respect to all the other students across India who've given that same test. Where do you stand among them? If you have this understanding right from the beginning, don't you think the actual paper will not be very scary? Right? So you need to give mocks at least 20 mocks for every exam. Take the test, take the mock test, appear for the mock test. After you appear for the mock test, analyze your performance in the test. Okay, after you've analyzed the performance in the test, what do I mean by analyzing? Go through the solutions of that mock test after appearing for it. Check where all you were correct, where all you made a mistake, where you need to improve, where you need to work on your strategy. Oh, this question I should not have solved. Oh, this was an easy question, I should have gone for this. You'll get some learnings after every full length paper. Take that learning, then give your next mock. Every mock should act like a mirror for you. And every mock should improve your performance. You should be knowing something new about yourself at the end of every mock. That is how you analyze an all India mock. Got it? Okay. Try to find the reasons where you made mistakes. Oh, I made a silly mistake here. Oh, I used the wrong concept here. Array, I should not have attempted this question. This was a better question. Try to find out your mistakes in the paper. Okay. As I already told you, analyzing a mock is like standing in front of the mirror. You come to know where you need to actually work on. This cannot be taught. This is something which you have to realize on your own. Okay. Whichever topics you are prepared with, try to improve your performance in that, and try to solve as many different variety of questions as you can after you finish your chapter wise preparation. You have intensive amount of study material at times, so you don't have to worry about that. What is important is you need to build your stamina. A paper like CAT is going to be for 3 hours. Okay. When I say 150 minutes, it is 2.5 hours even for a CET. So for CET also, you're supposed to sit for 2.5 hours in one place and give the paper. You need to build your stamina, guys. It is not easy to sit even for 2 hours and be completely concentrating on what you have at hand. So it's not something that you can do overnight. You have to build your stamina, and that will come only by giving more and more tests. And as I told you, your all India rankings will be kind of an indication as to where you stand with respect to the others, and you can improve your performance accordingly. Now, in a recent CAT 2020 batch, there was a student who, when he gave his first all India mock in the one of our recent batches for CAT 2021, his first mock test, children, he got 39 percentile. In his second mock, he reached up to 64. Day before yesterday, when he gave his third mock, he was at an 89 percentile score, an all India mock, like for across all branches of time. Okay, so definitely he must have done something correct in every other mock that his score increased, right? Okay, so that is what you understand, where you stand. Okay, right. Now, accuracy and attempts are two contradictory parameters. If you focus only on attempting more and more and more and more, and don't focus on accuracy, it's going to be a waste of time, because there is negative marking involved as well. So you need to balance between speed and accuracy. Okay, this will come with practice. Concept understanding and the right selection of questions can give you both practice of speed as well as accuracy. Make sure, again I'm going to tell you, make sure you are exposed to different levels of all India mocks, so that when you actually go to give your paper, it'll just be like any other mock test you are giving. It shouldn't scare you. You should be prepared with a plan in mind. You should be prepared with a strategy in mind. I know exactly what I'm going to do if this kind of a paper comes. What will I do if my English section is difficult? What will I do if my math section is difficult? What will I do if I'm not able to solve the first 5 questions? Every situation you're going to be ready to face if you have given a lot of tests and you have worked on your concepts. Okay, children? And last but not the least, please try to understand the meaning of easy questions. Easy questions is the key. It is a crime. Trust me. It is a crime you're committing on yourself if you don't pick up your set of easy questions in the CAT paper. Identify which questions you find are easy. Start with the easy questions in that section. Once you have finished solving all the easy questions, then you go to the questions which you find are a little bit of a moderate level questions, but solvable. And then you touch the examples which are difficult in your dictionary. What is easy for you could be difficult for me. What is easy for me could be moderate for you. The definition changes from person to person. Identify your kind of easy questions in the CAT paper. Start from there. Okay, not just CAT, for every other entrance exam as well. Pick the low hanging fruit first. Again, the low hanging fruit is the easy question. Finish that first, again and again and again, till you are exhausted with all the easy questions. Okay, and then you move on to the moderate level. So make a practice. This is a very important statement. Read this very carefully. Make a practice of converting a regular paper into an easy questions only paper. Okay, so most of your attempts you should be able to cover in your easy questions itself. And trust me, when I say the questions are easy, majority of the questions in any entrance exam do fall in an easy category for a student who's well prepared. Okay. In CAT, yes, Pooja, you cannot change the sequence of the sections, but you can slide in between the section. Like say, for example, you can't skip from English to quant before the time limit is over. If the first part of the paper is quant, you have to finish quant in that 60 minutes, and only then you will move on to the next section. So you can't, navigate between sections, but within the section, you can navigate between the questions. So you can see all the questions of that section one after the other, and you can navigate between them. So that's not a problem. All right, Pooja? Okay. I hope this is clear to all of you. Okay. So when it comes to your preparation, since I've already told you all the techniques and strategies, okay, what is it that we offer at Time? So the course that we offer for any kind of MBA entrance covers your preparation for CAT, XAT, IFT, SNAP, NMAT, CMAT, CET, TIS, TISNET, MAT, ATMA, and all these entrance exams. Okay. We have an extremely expert faculty team. Each one of us is trained by Time to be able to deliver sessions to you in an equal manner. So across India, wherever you go, you're going to have the same kind of level of teaching. You have 8,000 plus pages of study material and around 5,000 plus questions that you would be required to solve. Okay. There is nothing more that you would need to do to be able to crack an exam like CAT or any other entrance exam. We provide you around 50 total mock CATs, out of which 25 are all India CATs and 25 are study analysis mock CATs. So like they are more like previous year's CAT papers consolidated and made into separate full length papers for you. So you are not just visiting the previous year's CAT papers, but you are also facing fresh CAT papers, which are all specifically designed by special team at Time, which works day in and day out to actually prepare an all India mock for you. So you have exposure to both the kind of questions. Approximately 34 OMETs. OMETs is other management entrance tests, and around 200 plus chapter-wise tests for each and every section. Okay. Right now during the lockdown, we have options of live online classes. Okay. But as soon as the lockdown is over, we will be more than happy to welcome you at our individual centers at College Road as well as Nasik Road. Okay. For your classroom coaching program. Apart from the written exam, we are well aware that that's just 50% of the battle won. You also have group discussions and personal interviews after that. When you get calls from these universities, at Time you're trained for that as well. So right from working on your basics to helping you convert the final call, we are going to be with your study buddy through the entire process. Okay. We conduct rigorous amount of workshops to work on your general awareness, to work on your personality development, to work on your group discussion skills, your personal interview skills, your writing ability skills, how you should present yourself, in the personality assessment stage. You have rigorous workshops for all of this. So you can be rest assured that the course is taking care of everything for you that needs to be done for any of these entrance exams. Okay. There is a reason why Time has always been the number one when it comes to MBA entrance preparation. Right now at College Road branch, we have, CAT 2021 fresh batch starting from 12th of July, 13th of July, CAT 21 and 22, CT 22, and CAT 22 plus CT 23 starts from 14th of July. These are the options which are presently available for College Road branch, and the same kind of options are also available for you at the Nasik Road branch as well. So wherever you feel you are comfortable, you can go there, inquire about the courses, and you will be welcomed and you will be guided accordingly. You have all the options, whichever is flexible for you. You can go for online classes, whether you want it live or in whichever way, whichever time is suitable for you. It can be flexibly worked out for you, right? Okay. Now, before I end the session for today, there are two quick announcements I need to make. The first thing is tomorrow's day. Tomorrow's day is a very, 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 very exciting day in this entire conclave that we have hosted for you guys. Okay, so tomorrow we have two separate interesting sessions for you. The first one is how Time Nasik students made it to the IIMs and the Dream B schools, not just the IIMs, but even the other top B schools. We have all our ex-students, a couple of our ex-students coming in. They will be interviewed by one of our most passionate and most, the most, I would say the most the priceless faculty of time. Okay, very, very favorite faculty of every other student. Vaibhav sir will be, taking care of tomorrow's session as far as the interviews are concerned. I'm sure you will enjoy the session. Please do not miss it for anything on earth. Please do attend it. Their experiences will help you understand how you need to prepare for these entrance exams. Soon after that, at 11:30, we have a very, very interesting conversation with uh, Suhas Vaidya sir, who is the head of institutional sales for Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages Private Limited. He, he will be talking and sharing his experiences about his life after an MBA. Okay, how did his corporate journey, accelerate after he finished his MBA? So I'm sure a person from the corporate world, when he shares his experiences with you, you will get a better understanding of why MBA is one of the most lucrative options right now. Okay, so a student's perspective and a person working in the corporate field, you get both the perspectives tomorrow. So please stay tuned and do attend. Okay, and for any more informative sessions, subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Time Institute Nasik. Okay, so that you keep getting regular updates on whatever new is happening over here. Right, so before we end the session, if there are any more questions that you have for me, please do ask, and I will be more than happy to help you with that. Yes. Sure, Sayukta, we will definitely discuss. Please contact the Time Center and they will connect you to me and we will definitely have a discussion. Yes, Nisha, you can contact the Time. Yes. My name is Kshama. Yes, you can, whenever you contact Time Center, just ask for Kshama ma'am. Okay, ask for Kshama ma'am and they will connect you to me. My name is Kshama. I'm associated with Time for the last 11 years and I've been training students like you for the last 11 years. You can connect with me through, you just contact your Time local center and they'll connect you to me. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. Okay, so just ask for Kshama and they will connect you to me. Yeah. All right then. Okay, Sayukta. So I will look forward to speaking to you soon. Right. Any other questions and answers? I can see too. No, there are no questions here. Yes. Anything, any other way I can help you out, students? Any other questions? Please feel free to ask me. Yes. Thank you so much, Pooja, for your feedback. You made my day. Thank you so much. And I hope this session was useful for all of you. It doesn't matter who I am. What matters is whether you have understood what I said to you. So this is Kshama Acharna Fernandez from Time signing off, taking your leave. And before I end the session, I want you to please take a note of, yes, Siddhi, I'll come to your question. I want you to take a note of the local contact numbers for Time College Road and Time Nasik Road as well. So you can contact whichever center is nearest to you and we'll be happy to help you. Does NMIMS give any consideration to their existing students? The admissions are totally based on your score in NMAT, sweetheart. You have to get that score in NMAT. You need to go through their entire, process of group discussions and personal interviews and all that, and only then. There is no specific consideration to any existing student. It is totally based on your performance in this entire process. Okay. I'm sure NMIMS has already, bestowed that level of expertise in you to be able to crack NMIMS easily, even for your MBA. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Siddhi.
NMIS is
yes. Thank you, Prajakta.
online or offline?
All these exams are online, dear. All of these exams have to be given online. Paper and pencil-based exams are not there anymore.
My question is, ma'am, is there institute is online also or offline?
You have both the kind of courses.
Okay.
You have right now, because of the pandemic, they are not, obviously they are not allowed to call students to the institute and teach, but definitely you have full-time courses in online as well as offline mode. But it is always preferred to go for a full-time MBA, which would be in an offline mode rather than studying online. So although because of the present situation, they are not being able to call the students to the premises and teach them, but eventually when the lockdown is over, definitely students will be studying in the campus classrooms. So that is definitely preferred. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
While
Yes,
we filled the form for
Hmm.
BBA and MIMS, they did have this thing where they said 250 people will be chosen by them for the MBA program, and like they'll choose it based on the previous performance and all. So how is that? Like, is it for NMAT or how?
All right. So Siddhi, there are a range of courses which are offered even at NMIMS. So there's a lot of terms and conditions involved over there as to which course you would be applying for. Okay. So we'll have a one-to-one discussion on this. You already know how to contact me. I'll explain to you what do they mean by this particular clause, because you're already an existing NMIMS student. The situation would be slightly different for you. But since NMIMS already has a lot of courses going on, it depends on which course we are actually applying for. Okay, so we'll speak on that personally, one to one. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nagsen. Thank you so much. All right. So I hope this has been an interactive session for you. I hope you have got a lot of information that was important for these entrance exams. These are a couple of ways in which you can connect with us. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your patient listening. And it was a pleasure speaking to you guys. Take care, be safe. And I hope to see you very soon in our time classrooms. Okay, bye-bye.